Nigeria's insurance technology firms, or InsurTech, are finally being officially recognized by the regulator NAICOM with a set of guidelines that have been released effective August the 1st to regulate their operations. The guidelines are, of course, cover operations with customers at the center of it all, along with capital requirements for firms that choose to stand alone or partner with other firms. Ibraheem Babalola is a player in the InsurTech space. He's the CEO of Etap. Joins us now in our Lagos studios to discuss further. Ibraheem, you're welcome to the show. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
So are players like yourself relieved that you have these guidelines from the regulator NAICOM?
Relieved, excited, elated,
yeah?
All those words.
Yeah.
I think that this is the most significant regulatory milestone for InsurTech on the continent, not just in Nigeria. For the first time, a regulator has come out and provided very clear, structured regulatory framework, for InsurTechs to operate legally, right, and independently. We've seen a lot of innovation on the continent. We've seen things like sandboxes. It's almost like we'd allow you play, but we'll not allow you play kind of thing, right? So this is a very, very landmark moment, and companies like Etap that have been pioneering, InsurTech in Nigeria and making a lot of significant strides. Well, we're very, very excited, and we also contributed, in a little way to the drafting of the guidelines. So we're very excited. We're very excited by it.
So you partly wrote the rules.
No.
I'm joking.
We engaged the regulator
on how they talk. You have, if you're going to write rules,
exactly.
You have to talk to a player in the
Absolutely.
sector and say, hey, what do you think of this?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So then let me ask you a follow-up question. Will you want to stand alone now or partner with another firm? Because part of the licensing regulations is that, okay, if you're going to stand alone, you pay this amount. If you're going to partner with it. So there's what happens now? Are you going to see, because there's a lot of talk about how insurance companies are working in silence. You can say that about almost every Nigerian sector. But what happens with the partnering or standalones? How do you think that's going to filter out?
So the beautiful thing is that, now we have, I think we have leadership at NAICOM that actually understands the new business models, right? So we have, in the regulatory framework for InsurTechs, we have two license categories.
Yeah.
There's one where you can stand alone and be independent as an insurance provider, which means that you're carrying the risk, all the actuarials, the pricing, the product innovation, etc., is happening independently, right? And with that, you need a capital base of 1.5 billion for general and 1 billion for life.
That's a lot of money.
On the other,
maybe not for you,
business.
but
on the other hand, right? Yeah. NAICOM also now provides a structured framework to cover the existing business models that we have now, where InsurTechs are partnering with traditional insurance companies for underwriting arrangements. This means that the InsurTechs would do the customer acquisition, would do the policy administration. But in terms of the actual risk, the risk is being carried by a traditional insurance company, right? In that framework, you need a capital base of 10 million naira. Which is a very, very far cry from the 1.5 billion. So it's like, if you want to play as a big boy, right, you need to come correct.
Or a big girl.
Or a big girl, or a big person, thank you very much, right? You need to come correct and show that you can actually absorb the risk if it crystallizes, right? Or you can partner with, with an existing player for underwriting. I think that we're going to see at the start, we're going to see a lot of InsurTechs going into the second option, right, and sort of graduating their business models into the first option. We have already, last couple of years, been playing in the second option. So our approach is to, currently we're engaging our investors, right, and saying that we've validated our approach, we've grown our numbers, as a 2025 half year, we've already done our entire 2024 numbers. We think that this allows us to be able to do more without our arms tied to our back, right? So we're engaging our investors now, and our board to see the possibility of actually trying to get a standalone license.
That is very interesting. It's a trend I'm noticing. You doing, by half year 2025, already doing your entire 2024 number. I saw that with another sector, funny enough, just randomly, Dangote Cement and Boa Cement, both of them had already eclipsed the entire 2024 revenues in half year 2025. So what's the relationship like between the InsurTech? I mean, you're saying there's an existing relationship here where you're doing, front-facing customer acquisition and they're doing the back end. What is the relationship like behind the scenes between the InsurTechs and the traditionals? Do they see you as startups that are trying to kick them out of business, or is there camaraderie? Are you guys guys and girls all friends?
I think the relationship has evolved.
Yeah,
right?
Evolved. Are you being polite?
No. I think the relationship has evolved. I think it's gone from where there was just like, politely tolerating.
Yeah.
Right. It's got to the point where they're politely tolerating because we didn't really understand this guy, this diggy techie guys that just come, At the beginning, we used to actually have people say, you guys are not insurance people.
Right.
Right. And it's now gone to the point where there's a lot more collaboration. There's an understanding that for us to really unlock the potential of the Nigerian insurance industry, it will be digital-led, right? There would have to be like a lot of collaboration, a lot of innovation, So the relationship between the InsurTechs and the insurance companies has evolved to be one that is now very, very good. We've seen a lot of collaborations, between InsurTechs and insurance companies. Right now at Etap, we're actually leading an industry-based effort where we're trying to build a shared digital infrastructure for distribution.
Okay.
Right. So we're doing things where we can work with other insurance providers to build what could become like an InterSwitch or NIBS type player, but for the insurance, for the insurance sector. So the relationship has evolved to one where like everybody's now working together with a clear sight on what the objectives are, which is actively contributing to the president's $1 trillion economy. Yeah. Which he's got banking, and we'll get to that. He's signed that landmark Insurance Industry Reform Act. Ibrahim, insurance penetration in Nigeria is still very low. In fact, we've had multiple discussions about insurance. It's at 0.4%, right? Sub 1%. With all this, the regulatory stuff that's going on, the guidelines, the partnerships between you and the traditional insurance folks, is any of this going to move the needle? And I had you on the show before to talk about this. You were talking about your new stuff on your phone and the remote stuff with the car insurance and all that good stuff you guys are doing. But does any of this move the needle? Will any of this improve insurance penetration in Nigeria? Are you going to get to more people? Absolutely. So
you're always so optimistic when you no, but go ahead. Yeah,
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that when you think about it as a whole, like the penetration numbers hasn't grown as fast as population, right? Because we've been tracking this from like 1976, right? And saying just like the penetration numbers, we had a bit more penetration and then it slowed down and the population grew. The population grew faster. What we have now would be like a lot more innovation, right? We will have a lot more innovation, which means that we'll be creating like a lot of fit for purpose insurance products. There'll be a lot more awareness as well. There's also the sachetization of insurance, right? We're going to see health insurance premiums for 15 naira a day, which means that we can now go very, very micro-led, right? See, the consensus across the continent is that to unlock the potential of the African insurance market, it will be digital-led, right? So we now have forward-thinking regulators like we have at NAICOM now, right? Supported by, the presidency. We would now be able to go offensive on digital, right? Be able to innovate appropriately, right? As well as double down on the awareness, right? Now, so for example, before, InsurTech couldn't advertise, right? Because there was no clear regulatory framework under which you could advertise. It means that all the numbers that we've done without a billboard, without like actual out of home, because we couldn't. Now, once we get licensed, we can, and that helps the awareness, helps the product education, helps the acquisition, and ultimately helps us to continue to provide financial protection to Nigerians, right? People need to understand insurance a bit more. It's like the best investment that you can do.
It's your life and property.
I don't know many investments that you can make where you're paying 5% to get 100% if your risk crystallized. Right. Do you know what I'm saying? Right. So imagine your vehicle was 10 million naira, for example.
Yeah.
What was 5% of 10 million?
So, and then if the vehicle now, if it blows up, whatever, you get the whole thing back.
You get 10 million naira back, right? And that level of understanding of like the financial protection that you get, or education insurance, for example, where if you pass, say you died, for example, the insurance company will continue to pay.
At this time, I'll say not on my portion, right?
Which
is why insurance is so low. Which is why insurance penetration is not my portion. I'll not that. Yeah, the school fees, right? Lord, that's the challenge you have.
So there's also a cultural shift happening, right? I think that with all of these innovations, we're going to see insurance becoming a trust-based microeconomy product, which will be very community-led. And when it's community-led, the understanding would also improve, and we'll have less and less people saying,
it's not my portion.
It's not my portion.
Ibrahim, we're out of time. But you need to say a word about the president signing this Insurance Industry Regulatory Act. A quick word on what the president signed, assenting that to.
I think that we're going to look back 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and say maybe this is the best president that we've ever had. They've tried to review the act, a couple of times over the last maybe half a decade. They tried in 2018. That was, some people revolted, and that was stopped by the courts. And they tried in 2019. It was halted by COVID. And now we have a lot of landmark decisions in this act that has been assented by the president. One of the ones that I'm most excited by is the clause on product innovation. For insurance companies to release new products, which means that ideating and looking at the customer behavior and designing new products, you have to get NAICOM to approve. In this new act, the president has said, if NAICOM doesn't get back to you in 30 days,
then go ahead and do it.
Take it as approved. Right? It means that there will be efficiency in the commission, efficiency with the players. There's also a fund, for claims protection, which means that your claims will always be paid. So all those things about, insurance companies don't pay claims, et cetera, gone. Right?
Good stuff.
So when I said I would look back and say, maybe this is the best president we've ever had, I actually mean it.
Ibraheem Babalola, CEO, Etap, thanks for your thoughts on this landmark assenting of this bill for insurance. The revolution of InsurTech will not be televised, right? Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you.